Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
To Brilliance Business TV, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler. We have an incredible show today with Rovena Grishaj, financial representative. She has an amazing story of going to the USA as an international student, struggles along the way, and now she inspires others. I am really looking forward to a conversation with Rovena. Before I bring Rovena into the broadcast, I just need to make an official shout out to our show sponsors, Craig Shelley, Beverly Hills Luxury Watches and Fine Jewelry at craigshelley.com. We are streaming live on mspnewsglobal.com. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and we're also on the E360 TV network, going live under Fresh Takes on Roku, Apple TV, Fire TV, Android TV, and many, many more. So let's bring in our guest today, Rovena Grishaj. Rovena, welcome to Brilliance Business TV. It's great to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much, Mark. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for the invite.
It's an absolute pleasure, and I'll say your name again, Rovena Grishaj.
Yes,
it's a difficult one for us here in the UK to pronounce. Rovena, you have a really inspiring story of moving to the USA as a student. I know you are passionate about helping other students going into the USA, which we will talk about a bit later in the show. You help people make smart decisions with their finances now. So I would like to go back a little bit and share your story, your past, what has led you to do what you do today.
That is a great question, Mark. Thank you. So I am from Albania, and I actually grew up in a very small village of Albania. To be exact, there were 9 houses where I grew up. So it was a very small world. I grew up helping my family in the farm like every other person who grows up in a village does. So it's pretty much I learned to do everything. And I always was trying to find ways to not just help, but also start learn to make money. And there are ways to make money. They're just so hard. So I grew up always working since I was a little kid and always trying to be good with whatever little money we had to manage the expenses. Not only the family expense was something else that, the parents took care of it, but I also had to take care of the expenses of school because I always would see, let's say my teachers, they were the ones who got educated and they would have a better job and they would have a better life. So since that time, I was trying to understand what is the right thing to do to be able to get out of my little village and go to the other bigger world and get new opportunities. So it was, I had to go to school. I had to walk more than an hour just to go and get the education needed. I changed many schools. It was always just trying to find a better school, that being closer, but also having better opportunities. So I finally made it, and just for the place where I grew up, for females, like for girls going to school, it's another challenge that you have to, go through it because you're not kind of supposed to really go to school and it's not necessary that much. So that was another challenging thing for me. So I went to high school and I was very happy. I finished always with good grades because that was another thing that I needed to keep going with the education. Otherwise, it wouldn't really be possible. And after I finished the high school, now comes the other challenge where I'm going to go to university. And I always had the idea that the closer to the city you are, the more opportunities you have. So my next challenge was to find a way how I'm going to go to capital city of Albania, because I knew over there I'm going to have more opportunities, and maybe my talents and my skills would be a little bit more appreciated. So I found a way. I went to capital city and I studied psychology over there, and it went really good. I studied a lot. I worked a lot to keep the, high GPA to get the scholarship, because paying the school would have been very hard for me and my family. But also I wanted to keep the GPA because I always wanted to, unfortunately, leave Albania. Because since I was a kid, I would see my cousins coming from, England, from London, from America, from Italy, having definitely a better life, better schools, working on themselves. So it's kind of, I knew it. That's what I wanted to do with myself. And that's why it was very important for me to keep good grades and study a lot. And I got somehow lucky, but I also combined with the hard work. And I got accepted at St. John's University, which is the university where I finished the bachelor's in here. And I also got a full scholarship as an international student. And that's where, the journey that I had in my head since I was a kid really started, because it really, like, the life that I've had in these past 5 years here in America is exactly what I had wanted for myself all the time. Having opportunities to learn, experimenting with new skills, new classes, new trainings. It's just so much you can do in here compared to where I grew up, where everything is so limited. And that was one of the, the biggest motivator for me, because now there is no reasons for me to not do things. I can work and make the money. I can find the time and get the experience I always wanted and try new things. And I've literally been trying so many things, that being art, DJing, I learned bartending. I was studying all the time. Of course, I did internships. I did trips with my school, volunteering. It's like my life became so much different, so much more active, like how I always wanted. And, I am writing. I am now working in finance. But through all these years, the biggest struggle has always been the money, the financial side. Because when you come up from a family who has been generation after generation, on the survival mode, you really need to find the means to have that luxury of having time to do other things. And that's why I started thinking, okay, I'm studying psychology. I love psychology, but I don't think psychology is going to really, really help me to get the lifestyle that I've been dreaming about and working so hard for 25 years now. And, of course, I started reading and watching motivational videos and seeing who are the successful people, who are the ones who are doing the living style that I want to do. I always say I don't get advice from people who have a living style that I don't want it. I want to get advice from people who have a living style that I want. So I started to understand that actually having the financial knowledge and knowing how to manage your money and knowing how to make this money work for you can be another great factor in helping me to lead a better life, the life that I always wanted and I always worked for. And that's why when I was studying psychology, I also started to take a minor in business. And that's where I started to get exposed more with the financial industry. And then in a career fair at my university, the company that I work now, Mass Mutual, was there looking for agents. And I left the resume completely saying that they're not going to call me. I don't have any experience in finance. It's not going to happen. But they called me. I liked them. They liked me. I started doing all the training necessary. And here I am today, loving what I do. It is very challenging. It is maybe one of the hardest jobs I've done, and I've done very hard jobs. But the idea that I'm learning every day new things, and at the same time helping people to get more educated about their finances and adding more value to their lives that maybe they're not going to see it in this year or in the second year, but I know they're going to see it, in 5 years or 10 years. And I also know that this is a value that's going to go from one generation to another generation, something that I lacked while I was growing up, and it not damaged, but maybe it limited me on the things that I could have done.
I hear you. Great journey, Rovena, from a little village in Albania, having a really strong work ethic and really putting your head down and studying, going even to the USA on your own as a student. That is a really bold, brave decision. And then that has led you to really look at how you can impact the world to build the lifestyle that you would like, but also to help others look after their finances. It's an incredible journey. Could you just share a little bit about what, firstly, some people might not know what a financial representative is and how you support your clients? So tell us a little bit more about your business, what it is that you do as a financial representative.
Sure. So as a financial representative, it means that I can help people get educated, get the information needed and the guidance needed in taking better financial decisions. I am mainly focused on the risk management, which includes life insurance, income protection, long-term care, having supplemental income for their retirement, having supplemental income for the education of their children. But because I work in a team, I am also a support for them to do other financial planning, because it's always I'm a point of connection with other people who can offer services that I don't offer, that including investments, or if they want to look into estate planning, or when they want to write a will, which are all these topics are so important to put everything in order for the finances of the individual person, but especially for people who I am very focused on working with families because of my life experience, and because I believe that the more stable a family is, that being emotionally, of course, but financially as well, they're going to be a better future for their children. And that's why I'm so passionate of working with families. And I support my clients from the first thing, from A to Z, basically, for whatever they're going to need, even if it's simple thing as dealing with bad habits that we have towards the money, even just maybe creating a budget that's going to help them to reach a certain goal. Even if it's just, people can afford a certain amount, even just getting a life insurance and making sure that your family is protected. And we know how important it is. And 2020 showed us how important it is to have some type of planning in place, because we never know what's going to happen with our job, and we never know what's going to happen with our work. One of the things that I really take pride on is that I sit down with every person. It's not, I don't want to see myself as a salesperson or just a transactional. It is more creating a relationship and making sure that people really understand the information, really understand the strategy. Because I finished 2 universities. I studied business here in America, and I thought I know a lot. And I literally learned every single day new information that I had no idea that even exists. And then it comes the step of understanding it, and then is the step of applying it. So I never judge someone of maybe not taking this smart decision or did this decision about their family 5 years ago when it would have been better. Because the financial industry goes through so many changes that it's hard to keep up with it if you're not working in the financial industry. So that's why I always try to be as detailed as I can, bring examples, make it as clear as possible for people to understand why these financial plans, strategies, decisions are so important for themselves and their family. Because I meet sometimes people who are maybe closer to their retirement, and I feel bad when I hear stories that, they are left just with some savings that obviously not going to help them more than 2-3 years, or they don't have any type of assets, or they literally have no idea what they're going to do with their retirement. And that's why we see still old people serving in restaurants, And it's sad for me. And that's why for me it's so important to work with families, and also in younger, like in the first steps of creating a family, because that's when you are younger, you have more energy to make money, you can be more organized, and you can have a little bit more self-control and getting the right decision. Because the older you get, the harder it is to create new habits, but also the expenses maybe become larger because you're going to have more children. It's going to be harder to create these plans. It's going to look like a new burden. So that's why it's very, very important to start when we are young. And even if it is saving $1 a day, it's better than saving nothing.
I hear you. It's important for everyone. So even if you are really wealthy, or if you are not so wealthy and you want to create abundance, finances are so important. And unfortunately, there are lots of people out there that aren't good at managing their finances. Even some really clever people struggle when it comes to managing finances and their money. So it's really important work that you are doing, Rovena. We are just coming to a commercial break, Rovena, so stay where you are. Join us after the commercial break. We have been joined by Rovena Grishaj. Rovena has shared her journey of coming from a small village in Albania to studying, working really hard. That led her to traveling to the USA as an international student on her own. Today, she is a financial representative helping people to manage their finances. Join us after the commercial break. Welcome back to Brilliance Business TV. We are joined with Rovena Grishaj. Rovena shared her journey of coming from a small village in Albania, having a strong work ethic, studying really hard. That led her to the USA as an international student. Today, she helps people to manage their money and finances wisely and make smarter decisions. Rovena, welcome back to Brilliance Business TV. You have shared your journey. You have shared how you support your clients. My next question, Rovena, what are some of the common struggles that people face when it comes to managing their finances?
Oh, thank you for that question, Mark. So it is hard to answer it, let's say exactly, because dependent on what the financial situation one person is, the struggles are different. But let's say there is a common denominator that has to be, first is lack of information, of better strategies of using the money that they have. Second is the habits that we create. If we have the habit of just whatever check we get and then we spend it the next day, that is such a dangerous habit to have, because it's like you are not really managing anything to be able to have some type of security, some type of stability. There are other habits of not being able to separate the wants and the needs, and dealing with the wants first and then dealing with the needs. And that puts us in a big debt towards ourselves, because there are some expenses that we have to fulfill, like, for example, the rent or the food or the light, the internet, and all, like, some fixed expenses. And then if we go straight to the ones, oh, I want to buy that super expensive shoe, or I want to buy that super expensive bag, or I want to go on vacation, even if I cannot afford it. These are habits that can be very dangerous. Now, of course, I'm not talking about, killing yourself and not doing anything fun or not enjoying anything. It's just having some type of organization on our finances. For example, making sure that at least you have some savings. So even if you become sick or injured, or you cannot work for some time, at least you have some safety net. Or even if your job closes, you still have some safety net. Or even if you have an emergency expense, you still have something saved that wouldn't send you to bankruptcy or just losing the house or losing something that is very important for you. So I think the biggest challenge of when it comes to taking a decision in our finances are the habits, and also the ideas that we have had about the money since we grew up with our family, and ideas that we heard about money. For example, in my family and for myself, money was always an issue. So for me now, it's like I always need to have some savings, and I always need to have something that creates me some safety net for at least maybe 3 months, because I want to make sure I don't get in trouble and be in the situation where maybe my family was, of not being able to afford the expenses. Meanwhile, are other people who think money is bad, money is, don't really talk about money, because why would you talk about money? And that is another bad thing, because we really need to talk about money. Money, we like it or not, is in everything, and gives us the luxury of time, give us the freedom we want to do other things, give us the freedom of exploring and having a better life. So it's that idea of not talking about the money because you're a materialist or whatever, that is completely wrong, and we should stop portraying money like that. And other habits, other bad thing about money is sometimes we are not able to stay committed of a strategy or a plan or investment or whatever decision we took maybe last year, and now we're like, do I really need that? I better spend the money on something else. So I think these three main things I would put a lot of people. And as I said, the struggles are different for different people, but not having the right knowledge and the right information, having the bad habits, and not staying committed of a decision that maybe we took a really good decision, but now we are having commitment issues and we cannot stay organized and building that goal that we got engaged at some point.
Great points, Rovena. And I like the point about some people think money is bad. I hear this a lot, and this can really affect you when you're growing up as well, where people think money is the root of all evil.
Yeah,
that's one of the sayings. And you said it beautifully. Money gives you time, which time is freedom. I love money myself. I'm all about getting as much money as I can, and I don't feel guilty for it, because I know I put out the value, I work hard for it, and that's my reward for the service I give to others. It's really important that we manage our finances correctly. And could you just give us a little bit of general advice of how we can manage our finances more wisely, Rovena?
So it's funny, because that question coming after the struggles is like, turn those struggles into a plan, But and again, I'll go. First thing is get educated. It's so important to learn about what's going on in finance. What are strategies that will help you to make more money, that grow your money, so you don't. I like Buffett, who says if your money is not working for you while you're asleep, and you're going to be all your life working. So we have to find a way to make this money, work for us and for our interest. And the compounding interest, let's say, I don't want to go too specific, but there are the more you get educated, the more concepts you learn, and you understand that, oh my God, this can help me and I can have a better financial future. And when it comes at some point in life that I'm going to need more money, I can have these assets that I can use, and I'm not going to have to struggle or go get loans. That has become such a, easy topic, like, oh, I'll get a loan. And it's not that easy to just get a loan, because you're going to have to pay it back. And same thing with the credit cards. I see a lot of documentary about credit cards, and even if they look so good in the first sight, if you're not organized, and if you don't have the right habits, and if you don't have the right assets, you're going to get in big trouble. So everything, it has to be with being organized, getting educated. It's a big, big thing. Getting educated, stay committed, and of course, find the right people you want to talk to. Not everyone takes the time to sit down with people and share so much information and make sure they really understand it. Not all the people have your interest on mind. Of course, the majority of the people I know, they are so good and they really want to help people. So it's like, being a financial representative is like being a doctor of finances, because when you go to a doctor, you got to talk about things that is bothering you, the pain that you have, and then try to find a cure. And it's the same thing when you meet someone and they tell you like, oh my God, I cannot save, or I don't feel like my family is in a good financial position, or I'm not in a good financial position. You need to find what works best for that person. It doesn't matter what the strategy it is. It can be the worst for one person. It can be the best for one person.
Great advice. And you mentioned about debt there, and the problem is with debt, it's great when you take the loan or you have that money, but it takes so long to pay back. It's really hard to get out of debt. I got debt free a long time ago, and it just takes so long to pay debts back. It's great work that you're doing, and really, really important to help people manage their finances wisely so they can have more abundant futures. Now, Rovena, you're a financial representative. You're a woman. I know there's not a lot of women financial representatives. Tell us a little bit about this.
Oh my God, that is such a great topic, Mark, because I am so much about women being in every field. But then when I see there are so few women in the financial industry, and I'm new, I'm not saying that now I know everything about how many women are in there or how many should be. But what I know by heart is that women are very smart, and we have so much more control on our decision that we should be on finance. And I really encourage all women to take the step and get into finance. Even, who cares? Even if you don't succeed, let's say, and make that big money, you're going to learn so much for yourself. And the other thing, besides just being a professional and work industry, is I encourage women to take financial decisions on their hands. I met a lot of women who got divorced, and maybe there were 20 years in that marriage and never took a financial decision. And then they find themselves, oh my God, I have no idea what happened with this. I have no idea what happened with that. I never contributed on this plan or that plan, because it was always the husband who took the decisions. And the numbers are a little bit scary about the risk of women not getting involved in the finances. So I really encourage women to start learning from themselves. Don't just leave everything in the hand of your husband or your boyfriend or your brother or someone who you think is smarter than you to take the decision, because most of the time they're not. And you're smart enough to listen and understand and take the decision, because you're going to know what is better for you than someone else. So they really need to get more active on the field, but also on their personal finances.
Great words of wisdom there. So women, get involved in financial decisions and get into the financial representation. Now, Rovena, we're coming up to the last part of the show. I know you're passionate about inspiring, especially students. You came from a little village in Albania to the USA on your own as an international student. You have walked that walk, talked that talk, and made a success of yourself, which is a really, really hard thing to do. Now, there are going to be lots of students, international students, coming into the USA. Can you give us some words of wisdom to those out there that are international students coming into the USA? Because they, excuse me, they need support, they need words of wisdom, of encouragement, and you know all about this.
Yeah, so when I left my small world, let's say, in that small village and city or whatever, and I came to America, it's like jumping into the ocean and hoping you're gonna learn swimming. That is, the best way to describe it. And fortunately, I learned swimming on the way. But there were, like, especially the 3 first years, it was really challenging, really hard. I came here with almost no English. And after a week I arrived here, I started university. And I remember the frustration of not being able to answer in English, even though I knew the answer in Albanian. And I would be so frustrated because I couldn't find the right words in English. And that didn't last for so long, but it's really hard. And then the other thing is, like, everything is new. Even learning the buses and the trains and the craziness of living in New York, it's so much emotional pressure. And there are so many moments where you're like, why the hell did I do this to myself? Or what am I doing with my life? Or is this really necessary? Like, is it worth it? But what I kept reminding myself, and I think other students should keep reminding themselves too, is like, why did I take that decision? What was the reason why I took that decision? And the reason was that I wanted a better life. And most of the students who come into United States, not just from Albania, but most of the other countries, because they want something better. Now, if it's better or not, that is another topic. But we have in mind that if we come here, we're going to achieve the things that we want to achieve. And that is something that I kept reminding myself, that I'm not going to give up now that I'm here where I wanted to be to achieve the things that I want for my life and myself. So I had to go, I had support from my uncle, a lot of support, but still it comes to some things that you are alone, very alone, especially in New York, and you have to find a way to manage around it. I had to work. I had to be full-time students, try to find jobs that would, not require me maybe documentation at that time, but I found a way. And I'm sure most of students who come to America, they are excellent. They are smart. They are dedicated. They work hard. And nothing has changed when you come here, just the environment. And that's why you have to use that intelligence of get used with a new environment and reach those goals and accomplish that mission that you had in your mind when you took the decision of doing that application and coming here. So, take a break. It's okay. Cry. It's okay. Have mental breakdowns. That's not really okay, but we're going to have them, and then just keep going. You are here and just keep going. It's really going to get better with every single day.
Great words of wisdom, Rovena. Rovena, I have really enjoyed having you on Brilliance Business TV. I love the work that you're doing. You are really, really supporting and helping people to make the best they possibly can out of their finances, which gives them a better lifestyle long term for their futures. I really admire the work you are doing. Thank you so much for coming on to the Brilliance Business TV show.
Thank you so much for having me here. I really enjoyed it. It felt like talking with a friend I know for a long time. Thank
Rovena,
you.
We will stay in touch as well. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed having a conversation with you. Thank you, everyone, for watching Brilliance Business TV. We have been joined with Rovena Grishaj. Rovena has shared her personal journey of coming from a little village in Albania, having a really strong work ethic, studying hard, which led her to becoming an international student, going to the USA, all on her own. She made her dreams a reality, and today Rovena is a financial representative supporting people to make better decisions when it comes to their finances. Thank you everyone for watching Brilliance Business TV. Until next time, bye.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.